Howdy, folks. We're back with another episode of Three Men and an Anime. Huzzah!
Hooray!
This is Peter Bowman, and as always, I'm joined by my good friends and co-hosts, Eric Carlson and Gav Leaf. How are you gentlemen doing tonight?
I'm doing all right.
Existence continues.
Excellent. Anything happened weird in a taxi recently for either of you guys?
I try to avoid them at all costs, usually.
I mean, I was sworn to secrecy.
Fair enough. All right. So yeah, we're talking about my most recent series selection, which is something of a critical darling amongst the Anitubers, and Odd Taxi. Okay, so before we go any further on this, it is bordering on impossible to talk about the show without spoiling something. So, if you are really, really adverse to spoilers, pause the podcast, come back to it after you've watched the show. The reason I say that is because I'm fairly certain all three of us are going to say, yes, you should watch this show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Go.
Yeah.
It's really good. Watch the damn show.
The problem is, it's almost impossible to, even just to begin. The second we start talking about anything, it will spoil something.
It is a very well done, interconnected, multiple plot threads that interconnect, sort of cut and weave through each other, and all affect each other. And it's a wonderfully dense narrative that it doesn't. For me, at least, I don't know about for you guys, but I didn't have trouble following what was going on, despite that there's a shit ton going on.
Yeah, I didn't have much of a problem, thankfully.
Yeah, the one thing that I will say about this is it is like your typical interwoven mixed, like you say, mixed narrative, like noir sort of tale with everything happening, and we'll probably get into this, but it's been drawn up as parallels to guys like Tarantino and all that kind of stuff that that you see in mainstream, but it's not one of those shows that deliberately tries to mislead people and trick people.
No.
It doesn't want to. The writer doesn't want to feel like the smartest guy in the room. He's not like, you didn't see that coming. It's
no.
Like, no, if you're paying attention, you'll see everything coming.
Yeah.
It's how the story unfolds that's the point.
Yeah, like every now and then something happens, you go, oh, I think I know where this is going. And usually you're like, yep, that's where I thought it was going to go. Every now and then you're like, oh, I should have seen that where that was going. Oh.
Yeah.
I think there's exactly one twist we didn't see didn't see completely coming, and I kind of had an inkling on it, but I was like, I think that maybe, that was that's more of it. That was more than I expected.
I think this is a show that will really reward rewatching it.
I suspect that is very much the case,
because then you can just go, yep, there it is.
Yeah, they definitely set that one up. Yep. So if you really are concerned about spoilers, watch the show first. We understand. If you don't mind sort of minor stuff coming up due to incidental talking about characters and plot, that's fine. That's probably what happened. We'll try to dance around the two major things until the end, and I think we'll probably not reveal the big. So I'll say this right now. At the ending of the show is one of those endings that that very likely will just stick with you. Because it is a moment.
Arakawa turns into a giant space waifu and fights aliens.
Yeah, that's not what happens, but I'll put it this way. It is about as potentially surprising, but is not nearly as out of left field.
Yeah.
And it didn't make me angry. It made me go, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no. And I'm sort of hesitant to actually give that experience away without the other big twist is something that I don't mind spoiling because it's important. It does affect what's happened in the show, but it's not like oh my god, that's good. We'll get to that. So, Odd Taxi, it's a 13 episode original anime set in Japan. I think it's Tokyo, if I remember correctly.
Yep, it's definitely Tokyo.
Yeah.
And it's the protagonist is Otakawa, who is a taxi driver. He is a walrus. All of the characters are various sorts of animals. So if that's a problem for you, get over it. Watch the show anyways.
It won't be. Watch the show.
Yeah. And he's just sort of, he's sort of a fairly stoic, sort of laid back, sort of somewhat unemotive, doesn't emote a lot sort of guy.
Yeah, he's very I won't say monotonous, but very flat.
He's very dry.
Very dry.
He's very dry. Very much has run out of fucks to give.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He gives
the field where he plants his fucks. It was paved over.
Yeah. About the only thing he gives a shit about are the people he genuinely considers friends.
Yeah.
And those are few and far between. He also cares about paying back one particular debt he feels he owes, which the people he feels he owes it to definitely don't consider he owes them anything. And we'll get to that in a minute. It's not a big reveal or anything like that. It's largely a large part of the show is him sort of just picking various passengers up, interacting with them, and eventually getting drawn into this sprawling narrative that is sort of instigated by one particular mystery, which kind of falls by the wayside for most of the show eventually. In that there's a girl, late high school age, roughly, who has gone missing. She was last seen getting into a taxi and has not been seen since.
This is shown largely on on TVs in the background. Various characters will be talking about it because it's the big news story of the moment.
It comes up on the radio he's listening to. The radio actually the radio in his cab does a really nice job of sort of introducing both, musical bits in a diegetic way and narrative, sort of background narrative that actually becomes really important later in the show. Mm-hmm. It introduces to two characters who become kind of important throughout the course of the show. The number of ways the different characters that you run into the taxi you end up interconnecting is really kind of fascinating.
Pretty much all of them do, one way or the other.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's kind of like multiple chains, one person to the next, all going, via Odokawa.
It feels very, feels almost like an anthology show with Odokawa at the center with all these different plot threads going on. They all kind of ended up coming together to a what might call a satisfying climax.
Yeah, I would say so. So, his first passenger that we see is a hippo named Kabasawa, who is desperate for online attention.
He's thirsty for the clout.
Yeah, very.
Anything to go viral.
So, we have some interactions with him which, involve, a selfie taken with Odokawa that ends up going viral.
And he sort of fades out after a little while, but
he'll come back.
He comes back, and a lot of the show are these very Coen Brothers are Tarantino-esque conversations.
Yes.
Lots of snappy, witty dialogue going back and forth that tells you a lot about the people while talking about incidental nothing. It's like that scene in Reservoir Dogs where they're talking about Madonna.
Sure.
Tells you everything you need to know about those four guys at the table.
Right.
6 guys. I don't remember how many guys.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
I prefer to look sort of. It feels more like David Mamet's writing to me, but Tarantino was so influenced by Mamet that. Yeah, sure, fine, whatever.
There's a lot less cussing in Taxi.
There is than either Mamet or Tarantino stuff. It would be like I can't remember his name. Sorkin's writing, except that the characters are not trying to prove they're super clever all the time.
Yeah, it's it doesn't have Sorkin's one-upmanship.
Yeah,
Doesn't have Tarantino's crassness, and I haven't seen enough Mammoth to really make.
yeah, it doesn't have Mammoth's precision cussing.
Yeah.
I will say that there's one scene in episode 1 that did really feel like a Tarantino thing. It actually reminded me, just because of the complete. It's not based around pure just fucking swearing. Look, irony. Is the bit at the beginning of Pulp Fiction? I think it is the bit about the cheeseburger.
Okay, yeah, that's Pulp Fiction.
Yep.
Just a random little segue, means absolutely nothing, but everyone remembers it for some reason.
The discussion about We Are the World.
Yes, it literally they're talking about this random segue. Two guys just chatting about something completely unrelated and off the wall and whatever. And in episode 1 of this, you've got Odegawa and his doctor who just get into a conversation about Bruce Springsteen.
Yes.
Yep. Oh, absolutely.
But the thing is, it's one of those conversations you could totally see actually happening.
Yes.
Yeah. At this point, you're just wanting to hear yourself say Bruce Springsteen.
It's such a great name. Great name to say, Bruce Springsteen. Try saying that 3 times fast. When you're trying to say that 3 times fast in Japanese, it's tricky. Oh no.
Peter, you just turned into a robot. Are you okay there?
And my internet has died.
Oh.
Okay, we can hear you now.
Well, probably not for long, I'm guessing.
Yeah, mine was cutting out again, and I dropped down to 20 download, and I thought, oh shit, here we go, and then... Okay.
Okay, I'm going to wait for a bit before... So, yeah, okay. I'm still recording, so...
No, it's just gone offline, yeah.
Yeah, so, boy. I'm going to wait to see if it's... The internet's dead, or if it's my connection to
Discord? Yeah.
Well, not Discord, but because you guys can hear me still, and...
Yep.
So I've not lost Discord yet. That's good.
Yeah, I mean, you're still coming in through. You had you turned into a stuttering robot, and now you're back. So...
Well, my web browser's working, so that's fine. It's literally my connection to Twitch is... Oh, there we go. I think we're reconnecting to Twitch now. All right, my apologies to Twitch, and if we're listening to YouTube, sorry for the interruption here. I think the recording maintained, but but we will be discussing about nonsense. Right, so, sorry, we're back, and I'm sorry about the disconnection there, people listening to us live. So yeah, where were we? Conversation about Bruce Springsteen.
Yes.
Yeah, so yeah, there's a wonderful exchange, I love the little bit about the whole, can you say Bruce Springsteen 3 times fast, which is funnier because it's funnier. I don't think that joke would work as well in the dub in the dub of this. Actually.
Yeah, in the dub is probably difficult. Yeah, it only works because it's in Japanese.
Someone who's speaking in Japanese trying to say Bruce Springsteen is great. It actually is really funny because the doctor can't get through all 3. It's like. Meanwhile, his nurse is sitting there listening, and she's doesn't get some of this, but she's younger than the 2 of them. They're both in their late 30s, early 40s.
I think Odegawa's 41.
I think it sounds about right, yeah. And so she's, I'm guessing, in her 20s, but she's a nurse.
Excuse me.
Yeah, the wiki doesn't say, just that she's young. So
yeah, she's fairly young, but she's got to have gotten through nursing school, so she can't be
she's probably in her
early mid-20s.
I don't get the impression that she's super young, probably mid-20s.
That's sort of my gut feeling too.
Yeah.
But she what was her name? I forgot her name all of a sudden. Shirakawa.
Shirakawa, yeah.
She is a llama, and she is great.
Yeah, she's great.
We don't realize exactly how great she is until towards the end of the show, where you're like, oh God, you kick ass, lady.
I can tell you exactly when. There's a part where her and Atako are sitting in the park,
Mm-hmm.
and Atako is trying to explain to her that he's in some dangerous business right now, and she should stay away from him. It's it's just dangerous, and he doesn't want her to get hurt. She's been so nice to me. He'd hate for that to happen. She turns to him, and it's this very film noir, very serious scene. And then Brazilian jams start playing. She gets up and starts going into a capoeira moves. And like, okay, she's awesome.
Yeah.
Turns out she knows capoeira and summons a beat whenever she wants to fight someone.
She literally does.
This is not a shonen.
Yeah, she's great. Of course she's got flaws as a character because this is a film noir and almost nobody makes good decisions most of the time. This is the. There are a few characters who generally make good decisions.
The avalanche of poor decisions.
And my internet is
series
derping
of
again.
A noir film, you said.
And Peter's gone again.
Yeah, my internet is derping again because I can't have good, nice things when I'm trying to record podcasts sometimes. Oh my god! So we'll keep talking. Can you guys hear me clearly on Discord?
You've just come back.
We can. Yes.
Great. Okay. So I'll keep talking. We'll pop back into Twitch. Will pop back when it pops back. I don't know when that'll be. Oh my god! I hate my internet here. So I'm going to take this moment to while we're recording and my connection to Twitch is sucking, to say fuck you, Spectrum. You suck.
Yeah. No. Fuck the entire system for the internet we have in the States.
Oh my god, it's the worst. God, we're recording though, so we can keep going, and I apologize. Yeah. So, anyways,
as long as Discord holds on, we can get through this.
Well, yeah, as long as Discord holds on, right? Exactly. So, God, I'm having I'm guessing what it is there's brief blips in connection interruption. And I've reconnected.
Yeah.
I have now reconnected to OBS. Is now reconnected to Twitch. Hello, Twitch. Again, I'm terribly sorry, but my internet sucks balls. Fuck you, Spectrum. Fuck you, Spectrum.
Yeah.
So, I apologize. We're gonna try to struggle through this. I am recording it locally, so it should still go up on YouTube. I apologize. As long as Discord holds on. Anyways, so we should keep going just in case my internet decides to completely pack up and fold in on itself like a singularity.
No, not like a singularity. My internet's working fine.
I do. Anyways, so yeah, there's a lot of interconnectivity. I don't want to go plot point by plot point because there is too much. We will be here all fucking night if we try to do that.
There's too much. We'll be here all night,
will.
and
yes.
This is a show that it's a joy to watch unfold.
Absolutely.
Yes. This is one of those shows where we did Unicorn last time out, and it's like that's a dense show because they try and squeeze so much in. But it's essentially like multiple movies all being told in a short space. This is a longer show, so it's got time to breathe, kind of. I suppose time wise, it's about the
same amount of time actually.
Yeah. But it takes its time. It lets, there's not as much in there. It's still a very dense show, but for all that's going on, it gives stories time to breathe.
It does.
It gives you time to realize what's going on. It makes sure that the audience is keeping up and along for the ride, not
the
trying
pacing is excellent.
Yes.
Oh, the pacing is sublime. Holy crap.
This is a better written show than almost any we've done.
Legitimately, this is creeping up my list of favorite anime. I'm gonna have to give it a rewatch before I settle on that. But
yeah,
this is one of the best shows I've watched.
The show is tight.
Yeah,
it's a masterclass.
Put it this way: this is one of those shows that I have watched it once through now. I want to, if it gets a dub, I'm probably gonna watch the dub, because one of the hardest things, and Eric pointed it out, is that it's a very talky show.
Yes.
And when you spend the entire time staring at the bottom of the screen, you kind of get the feeling you might be missing something going on.
Yep.
On the rest of the screen. So I do want to watch the dub and just to see if I can get the get a different experience from that.
Yep.
And you know what? We discussed this at the end of the day. This could make a decent live action too, very easily.
There's only one way to do it. Is the problem?
I
I don't even think you'd need to do CGI. You could quite easily do it with prosthetic.
No.
okay.
The prosthetics. No. You have to hire Jim Henson Studios.
You have to do it as puppetry.
With the
It's
Muppets.
the only way it works outside of the medium of animation. It has to be
I do think you could do a noir, kind of like a very deep noir with prosthetics.
Probably, I just don't think it would work quite as well.
But yeah, no, I could see that.
No, you can start running into some crazy uncanny valley problems there. That will pull you right out of the scene. It works if you do it in puppetry. It works if you do it in animation. It's not going to work in the other shit.
I think it would just be a little bit too distracting. Is my gut feeling.
Yeah.
But at any rate, that's not the important bit. Is legitimately like, holy crap! This like there are many ways in which it feels like you don't need we don't need them to be animals. Then there's a reason that they are animals later in the show that's revealed, and it's actually important.
Yes.
And we will get to that, I promise. Though that is by the way, that is the big sort of reveal that we're willing to talk about.
Yeah, if you're paying attention, you get the idea through the show anyway.
Absolutely.
But
it's something that the clues are drip fed to you.
Yeah, they drip feed it to you, but they do this weird thing as well, though, of never really giving you too much. They give you a hint and a clue, but even by that last episode, you could quite easily go. The whole thing could quite easily go the other way.
Mm-hmm.
I remember reading like some bits about this before I even watched the show, and it was one of the big questions of people. Even when they got to the
yeah,
I think it was like obviously before the last episode aired,
right?
But that it was the big question. Is it or is it not? But yeah, right. I'm trying not to spoil.
Right. So we'll get to that in a second. But like we're not going to talk too much about the actual plot of the show. Like again, so there's that plot. There's the plot thread of the missing girl. There's the story of the idol fanboy who wins the lottery.
Yep.
Who
really wants his up and coming idol group to succeed.
And boy, their manager really wants that to happen too. And he does some very questionable, shady stuff and makes some very bad decisions. Because almost everybody makes terrible decisions in the show.
Noir film, you said.
Yes. Legitimately, the only people who don't make terrible decisions, make at least one really terrible decision, are probably Otakawa and Goriki, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Dabo, too, actually. We should talk about Dabo.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about Dabo. So, Dobu is... Dobu, yeah. We should talk about Dobu. Dobu is a baboon.
Yes, and he's also Yakuza.
He's also Yakuza. He wears a puffy jacket. He owns the one gun that shows up in the show.
Yep.
And he's also looking for the girl because reasons.
Yep.
And that's what leads him to Arakawa, because there's the suspicion that Arakawa might have something on his dash cam.
Right.
And eventually, so Dobu's whole bag is he's looking into the girl largely to please his boss, because he's in a bit of a power struggle with someone who's on
he's a lieutenant
ladder as he is. Yeah. Not as lieutenant, not anymore.
The guy who used to be his junior, who's now basically on the same level as he is.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Sorry,
trained up.
Yeah, Dobu's a lieutenant in the Yakuza, and he's got a rival lieutenant basically.
Yeah. And it all boils down to the two of them trying to show each other up.
Yep.
We don't meet the other lieutenant for a while because he's not important to the plot for a while.
Thankfully.
I think he's actually really well done. Yano is well designed, crafted to be a character that they want you to dislike, and you do.
Yes.
And I think he's brilliantly done. Like the way he's done, so the key is that he speaks in rhyme generally, and he's voiced by the rapper Meteor. They actually got a rapper to do his voice lines, so that I'm willing to bet you he actually was told, here's what he's roughly saying, write a rap for that, and he did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like Peter said, if you actually like close your eyes and listen to the rap, even if you don't understand Japanese, you can tell his rapping is good.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
The
meter's
problem
good.
is
The rhymes are good.
trying to follow the translation, not so much.
Yeah.
Trying to
The
actually
problem
figure out
is,
what they're saying.
yeah. The problem is you can imagine everyone around him quickly getting annoyed with the shtick.
Oh God, yeah. That's the point.
Well, it's
Yeah.
absolutely his own little fucking, I dare you to try and tell me I'm annoying or doing this
Yes.
shit. I'm a Yakuza lieutenant. I dare you to I'm going to do
Yep.
this because I can.
It's definitely a power move.
It's
Yeah.
like the asshole that everyone knows that spends that time in his teenage years talking about himself in the third person.
I feel called out. Sorry, Eric feels called out.
Yeah, so Dobo's big beef, like Dobo's violent and gets into fights a lot and will beat people down for anything, but he has a code
Yeah.
of sorts, and Yano doesn't,
Mm.
and that's sort of the big source of their beef. Really, it's in a lot of ways sort of akin to the difference between Kiryu from the Yakuza series and most of the rest of the Yakuza in the Yakuza series.
Yeah, like Yano is your typical like thinks he's untouchable,
Mhm.
like steps on everyone except for those above him, like talks down to everyone, disrespects everyone, thinks he's absolute king shit, and doesn't know his own limits. Like, to be fair,
I think it's more just the
it's overconfidence.
there's a lot
arrogance.
of yes, there's a lot of arrogance with Yano.
Mm.
Like he's just that irritating little shit that you just want to like smash his skull into the pavement, but you know you can't.
He's also
whereas-
about 75% as good as he thinks he is.
Yeah.
Whereas Dobu is the opposite side of things. He's the down to earth, thinking man's gangster kind of situation. He knows what he is. He knows what he does.
And he
he
also has got his own quiet arrogance, but he's actually almost
Yeah.
as good as he thinks he is.
Yeah, with him it's more calculated.
It's also very much old guard versus new guard.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I will say, Dobo is outmaneuvered by exactly one person in the show.
Yeah. Largely because he completely underestimates him.
Oh yeah, and that's Otokawa. Otokawa ends up running rings around Dobo.
Otokawa is surprisingly sly.
Yes.
Some of the shit he pulls,
Yeah.
he's like, "Oh, you asshole!"
Otokawa is fed up with your shit, but can't bring himself to care enough to tell you. But is surprisingly cunning.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's he's not like super smart, but he's very clever. And he's very good at reading people.
Yes.
He also he doesn't mind working with people to a common goal, but bad things happen to bad people. So
Also, I would not want to play poker with this man.
No.
Yeah.
You can't read him. That's the real. That's his real superpower. Is like I can't tell if he's lying to me or not. I think he's telling the truth. He's the kind of guy who generally tells the truth.
Because he doesn't give enough of a fuck to lie.
Right.
The only real time that he shows any flinch is literally when he's got somebody with a gun on him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It happens about
he sort of talks about how
times.
he does. Like it wouldn't really matter if he died, but he doesn't want to.
I've got shit to do.
Yeah, and we'll get to we'll talk a little bit about that. So the big thing is that Otokawa grew up without his parents, basically. For most of his life, he's believed they just sort of he believes that they just left him, and a very generous agency. There's a charity that decided to that gave enough money to him so that to pay for him to live, go to school, and survive, and move out of the crappy part of town where he lived in to Tokyo, where his life got slightly better. he was teased mercilessly as a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he was, a big, heavy-set, sensitive kid from a kind of a broken home, and he was very, very introverted. I suspect probably on the spectrum, but I don't know.
Well, that's really tough to say.
Yeah,
Like,
but very much an introvert. That's definitive.
he's introverted. He doesn't want to fuck around with most people.
But yeah,
He
he's
just
very
doesn't have
sensitive and
time
very
for it.
introverted is the big thing.
Yeah.
And his mom, his dad was a philanderer and drunk, and his mom was kind of emotionally abusive.
Yeah, I mean, is it implied that his dad was Yakuza?
Who
I mean,
knows?
we have no idea. We literally
they
have no
mentioned he
idea.
went on trips often and had a mistress.
Most of the implications that was to be with his mistress.
Yeah. And, when he came home drunk, he'd take it out on his mom, and his mom would take it out on him. Yeah.
Bad shit.
Yeah. All of this doesn't show up till much later in the show, though.
No, it does not. But this is sort of explaining sort of where he's coming from.
The thing that they do, there is a theme running through this, and the reason why Goriki and Shirakawa are involved is because literally one of the opening scenes is Odokawa at their clinic, because Goriki's a doctor, discussing Odokawa's lack of sleep, inability to sleep, and his health concerns that he's got, and. Okay, spoiler. I'm not going to severely spoil, but this is a hell of a hint. We've mentioned before in earlier shows how Japan has a kind of an issue when it comes to handling mental health issues.
Yep.
Oh boy. They skirt around it while not ignoring it at the same time. It's kind of weird how they handle it in this.
It's better than a lot of portrayals of it.
It's also very much in service to the plot.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to dump all of this on everybody. Like,
I said, they handle it better than a lot of shows do.
Yeah.
I will say that.
Goriki's legitimately concerned, and and his friend, and is trying to figure out how to help him. And
because
one of Goriki's big problems, he's just with this is he can't get a hold of Atakawa's records from before. So,
Well,
yeah. And that looks like I've lost Discord. Yep, my internet has decided to pack up and fall in on itself. So we'll see how long it takes for it to bounce back. Hopefully it does not take too long. But yeah, so yep, there goes my internet completely disconnecting because I hate everything. I'll talk on a little bit here. Sort of inconsequential stuff here. Odokawa is. So yeah, we'll talk a bit more about like Odokawa's relationship with Goriki in a minute, as soon as my internet decides to recover. Hopefully it does, and I'm not out of internet for a long while because that would be terrible for me right now. And for recording this. God, I hope I don't have to do some serious editing on this whole show. But at any rate, so they as Gav's probably going to point out when we come back, it's they're talking about sort of his health issues, and we've been talking about sort of the Odokawa's sort of he's definitely got some issues of some sort, trouble sleeping. It's noted that he doesn't have anyone else who lives at home, and he's talking to somebody. Or he seems to be talking to somebody, but there's no one else there, which is one of the reasons people suspect him of having been involved with the girl's disappearance. And he definitely, the shots indicate that. There we go. I'm back in Discord.
There he is.
Hooray!
Great, excellent. Internet was only down for a little while there. Hopefully we'll reconnect. And there we go. Reconnected to Twitch. I sort of blatted on there a little bit on my own.
You might have to do some actual editing on your own.
I hope
here,
not, because I actually decided I was careful about that.
Okay.
And it wasn't down too long. So at any rate, I was basically what I was talking about was one of the things one of the things that sort of had Goriki thinking about that Odokawa might have some mental issues is that. Well, I mean, there's one of the reasons that people seem to be suspecting he might be involved in some way with the girl's disappearance is that he's been overheard at home talking to somebody, and there's nobody else who lives with him.
Yeah.
And there are definitely camera shots that imply there's somebody he's talking to in his closet. We eventually find out what's in the closet later.
Yeah, but we see things like, he's coming out with lines like, you could run away at any time you wanted.
Yeah.
Or later he boards up his window and it's like, yeah, now you can't escape.
I mean, that was after someone shot through his windows, so
yeah. But it's like, they do leave that little thread hanging.
Oh, they're definitely trying to convince you that maybe he's involved.
If you're observant, I spotted like an episode 8.
Yeah.
So not that observant. But if you're observant, there are clues as to what's going on there. But yes, yeah, we were just elaborating on the mental health thing, and it's like the one problem I have with it, and again, not to spoil the ending, but it's I think Eric summed it up. It's a little bit Looney Tunes. The resolution. It's like, oh, somebody got hit in the head, and now they're all funny. Hit him in the head again. That'll fix it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, the resolution to it is a little pat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's like my biggest issue with the show, and it's a small one for given everything else.
Yeah, it's a very minor thing, and honestly, in genre, but still.
Oh yeah, no, it very much is in genre.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's pretty much. Wow, that's your only complaint. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I know, it's astonishing. Yeah, So yeah, there's that plot. So there's that thing. There's the plot there to the guy trying to kill Otokawa for a really stupid reason. Sort of.
Here's the thing with that. With that, this is a guy who clearly has, addiction issues.
Oh yeah.
Not with drugs or alcohol.
Gambling.
He's got gambling and gotcha.
Well, that's the thing is he's got this. Yeah, his gambling outlet is gotcha is gotcha games.
It's still gambling, yeah. This is actually one thing I did want to mention. It's like, as much as I didn't like the resolution and I thought the Otokawa's issue was handled, the way that they handle this, I did not expect the level of like accuracy, the way that the character is talking about his life.
Yep.
And how he descended and spiraled into this all-consuming gambling addiction that took over everything and almost ruined him. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, they went balls to the wall on this. Yeah, I mean, look, this is the thing. I mean, not to say that the US doesn't experience gambling, but as I mentioned, my local high street has two types of shop. Betting shops and charity shops. That's it.
Yeah.
And like the different betting shops, it goes. Well, I can't. I'm not going to name brands, but it's basically there's 4 in a row, and the ones on either end are the same brand.
Right.
The same company. They've got 2 shops on the same high street.
I mean, you walk into any convenience store, you're going to find the same like 4 barflies just buying scratch tickets over and over again.
Some people go to the local the betting shop. They don't bet. They just play the bandit, the one-armed bandit. They're the slot machines. That's all they do.
Yeah.
The same at the bingo. Hell, my mom drags me to the bingo every now and again. It's gambling is rife, and it's really easy to. I've sat there, and you even just like. Mentally, I know that all I'm doing is I am listening to a random number generator and ticking off numbers. That's all I'm doing. But you can't help but see patterns. You can't help but think the game is fucking with you.
The human brain is very good at finding patterns in anything.
Yep. And that's what gets you. It drags you in. And gambling addiction, I've seen it. I see it regularly. It's very easy and very difficult to get out of. And it will ruin people just as much as any narcotic or anything else. And yeah, the way they handle it in this show, like the guy goes absolutely postal. He the thing about gambling addiction is it's an obsession. And his obsession twists from attaining the next thing that he wants to the next thing that he wants being revenge for losing the thing that he wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just twists him to the point where he's now got that obsession, is purely fixated on revenge on Odokawa.
Yep.
And it's
entirely
I will say I really like the end result of all of that.
yes.
yeah.
He finally gets
the face to face with him, and he just realizes it doesn't nothing matters anymore. He's just tired,
and he breaks.
And he's like, at this point, I just want an apology.
It's almost, oddly enough, it's almost like breaking from a fever by the end of it.
Yeah, kind of.
Like,
although, unfortunately, as Odokawa apologizes, yet another trigger is dropped out, and he completely loses it. And
yeah, trigger.
Yeah.
Sorry, it was just Pat for the scene.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. So the character in question ends up nicking Daimon's gun. Not Daimon. Daimon's one of the cops. Dobu's gun. Stealing it's the wrong word. He accidentally discovers it and is like, oh, this is perfect. It's like, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no. So there's that plot. That whole story is running through the show. We've got, as I mentioned, the whole Dobu Yano feud, which comes to a head in the almost everything ties into that feud by the end. Beautifully. The end. It is a beautiful disaster. Like the level of it is legitimately right out of a Coen Brothers movie. The level of number of sort of criminal threads that end up tying together and falling apart in a truly glorious manner.
Yeah,
except things go generally too well for the people who are actually decent folk.
It has to be horrible.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's also the ongoing plot about the missing girl. That ties into the idol group. The center of the group is a somewhat arrogant young cat.
A poodle?
She's a cat. All three of them are cats.
Is she? I thought she was a poodle.
They're all cats.
Hang on, let me double check this. They don't actually. Yeah, no, she's a toy poodle. You were correct. The other two are cats.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's adorable. She's apparently super cute, and that's the reason that she was. But she's not super great at any one thing. She's just good at stuff, and she hates losing.
Yep.
Which is amusing because she ends up in a relationship with a somewhat schlubby half of a comedian duo. Who really sort of I stopped. I know I've consistently had failure and everything, so I just sort of gave up and just started finding joy in people my friends doing well. And she's like, what?
Yeah, we get a little monologue from her. And she's describing the way that she lives, and she's like, she's always put huge expectations on her, and anyone else succeeding is a direct challenge to her.
Yep.
And she has to succeed at everything. She has to be number one. And until she meets this one guy who's failed at everything and just says, I have no problem with my peers and colleagues succeeding. I used to be like that. I used to be worry about everyone else doing what they're doing and getting ahead in life and leaving me behind. And then I realized that I'm kind of just running my own race. Why should I care?
And she can't quite get to that state, but she really appreciates it in him and finds that they work really well as a couple. They end up working really well as a couple.
Yeah. And importantly, he gives her permission to fail. She's allowed. There is one person who isn't going to care whether she's successful or not. He's just going to be happy for her, whatever.
Plus, being cynical as well. It also means that she's in a relationship with somebody who's inferior to her, so that's kind of.
Well, but the thing is that he actually starts doing really well, and she seems genuinely happy about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, his career starts taking off partially because he's a comedian, and the whole whatever, I don't give a fuck plays into that comedic aspect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's genuinely happy about it, which is actually kind of sweet. it makes up for some of her less admirable qualities. Honestly, she's a wonderfully complex character.
She's a complex character. She's not nearly as bad as a lot of the other people in the show.
Oh no, she's not.
And in fact, she's downright sympathetic.
She makes one tremendously bad decision and pays for it.
She makes one really bad decision, and it costs her dearly.
It costs a lot of people dearly, honestly.
It costs a lot of people, yeah.
In any other show that did the overblown, over-the-top character sort of tropes, yeah, she'd absolutely be a mini-villain in her own right. But no, she's played very maturely. Or written, sorry, very maturely. And very believably in this.
Like you, like going back and thinking about it, like the scenes where she's doing the whole like she's the cute idol and interacting with her fans and being all lovey-dovey. It's like, yeah, that's not entirely fake.
Yeah, no, she you get the feeling that she actually does like appreciate the skunk mega fan.
Yeah.
Like she tells him, "You've been there since our like first show. Like that's awesome. I really appreciate that."
Yeah, she's not the evil idol smiling to a fan's face and being completely false and everything behind the back. No, she does. She recognizes the fans that were there at the beginning. She's all in, but she just can't get out of her own head.
One of the telling things for me is actually when she's like introduced, when she's doing that fan meet thing. You the fans pay for time to chat with the idol and maybe like get to hold their hand or something. And he comes back and she's, "Oh, you came back around again." He's like, "Yeah," and they chat for a bit. And their manager's like, "All right, time's up." And he's like, "Oh, well, I gotta go. Well, here's a freebie," and she gives him a hug.
Yeah,
because she actually does appreciate him.
Yeah. She has they take a photo with her giving him a hug. It's cute. It's like, oh, that's cute.
Yeah. It is a little bit. The thing is, like the initial couple of sentences make it kind of creepy. In a weird way, like literally when you say she recognizes him, she goes, "Well, you I think it's like his third time round. It's like, well, we've done a handshake and we've done something else, and so what do you want this time round?"
Those are from different shows, from what I understand.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, that's my gut feeling. She just remembers him because he's always at all their shows. So it's like,
yeah. I will say I find like certain aspects of the whole like idol fandom profoundly creepy. That's.
We do start following this guy, and it's clear that he is obsessed. But luckily, he's not quite taking it to the levels of creepiness.
Well, he's not dangerous. He's just a big fan.
Yeah,
and that, like, I'm an idol fan kind of way. Like,
he's not dangerous to other people. He's dangerous to himself.
Yes. Yeah, yes. I mean, to be fair, he's still a teenager in not 300-pound in his 30s. So Hey boy.
He's young, but he's got a job. He's got a job that pays well enough to support stuff in general. Although he's kind of broke the first time we meet him because he's spent his money.
No, he's bullshit. He's bullshitting. We get that.
Well, no, he's not. He doesn't have a lot of money, and he's trying to cut corners on the cab fare to save himself enough money to maybe get a bite to eat on the way home. Probably is my guess.
Yeah. Well, no. The whole shtick was. Literally,
you want to buy another lottery ticket? That's right. Yes.
Yeah. It's like I don't have enough money for this. Can you just take me as far as I can get on this much? And Odaka was like, "I'm not taking you any further. Oh, please, I just live like just a little bit further down." And he's like, "Oh, fine, okay." And he's going on and ranting on about this idol group and all the rest of it. And he's like, by the way. Completely out of the blue, but I sometimes do this. What are your 6 favorite numbers? And he just pulls like shit
out. He pulls a photo he took with his friend up and
his friend took in the locker room at the
and it's got locker numbers.
The sauna they were hanging out in.
Yeah, it's got locker numbers, and it's like he gives this spread of numbers. Like, oh, cool. I'm gonna go buy a lottery ticket. And Hodaka was like, wait, you said you didn't have any money. Little shit.
Yeah,
and he disappears into the night, and we never hear from him again for about 5 episodes, anyway.
Yeah, until we find out he's actually hit the lottery.
Yeah, those
numbers.
Those numbers earned in 1 billion yen, which is about 600 million.
It's a lot. It's a lot of money.
Yeah,
it's enough money to be impressive.
Yeah, and like he wants to pay Otakawa back, and Otakawa's like, "What?" No, you don't have to give me money, dude. Don't worry about it. Just
Don't
pay your
sweat it.
cab fare.
I'm doing okay.
Well, it
It's
turns
just
out he
Obi cab
works
fare.
at.
That's it.
Turns out he works at a hostess club.
Yep.
And he basically gives Odokawa a night in the VIP room, basically.
Yeah.
Right, he doesn't have to pay for anything. Onokawa was like profoundly uncomfortable.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm not
really
digging it.
is. He's like surrounded by women, and they're all like, "Do you want a drink?" He's like, "No, I don't.
I don't drink. Can we drink?
Can we drink?
Sure.
Sure.
He looks at his patron, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
And he gives him a thumbs up. He's like, yeah, I guess so.
So this is not my scene. I am profoundly uncomfortable around women.
I really just want to go back home and talk to my closet.
But yeah, so there's that thread running through. I'm trying to think of the other major plot. The sort of ongoing, the two comedians in the comedy competition.
Yep.
Is another thread that goes through the show, and they're both great characters. It's not a huge driving plot point, but it's their sort of their narrative.
Yeah. They do a lot of like we've already mentioned that one of them's dating the idol. The other one also works part-time at the hostess club.
Yep.
They're always on the radio giving exposition because they've got a radio show together.
It's a specific style of comedy. Trying to remember the name of it. It starts with an M. Where's?
Oh, it's.
I don't know.
No, it's here in the.
I mean, it's unimportant, honestly.
Yeah, it's Manzai comedy.
Manzai. Yeah.
It's a style of comedy. Baba, the one who's dating the idol, Baba is a donkey. He's the straight man. And Shibagaki is he's a boar and he's the funny guy.
Yeah.
You get the impression that like Shibagaki cares a lot more about comedy than Baba does.
Yeah. Shibaraki cares a lot more about comedy and getting their act to work and all this other stuff. But at the same time, Baba's just funnier than he is.
In some ways. He is a better straight man than Shibagaki is the funny man.
A funny man, yeah.
The thing is, Baba doesn't he doesn't try to be a good straight man. He's just a naturally good straight man. Which frustrates Shibagaki to no end. He's like, you're really good at this, dude. You're not funny, but you're great at, it's implied they went to high school together is the thing. They've known each other for ages. And like it's very clear that Shibagaki really wishes Baba gave more of a shit. And really enjoys he's like despite that he's sort of cutting and insulting all the time, he genuinely actually wants to do their comedy gig together because they're friends,
Yeah.
It's like I want to do this gig with my friend. But apparently it's just not going to work out. And my friend's succeeding at other stuff. I'm only resentful about it because it means that we can't work together to improve the comedy routine. Like, otherwise, I'm quite happy about it, and my internet's derping again. Yep, there we go.
I think we lost Peter.
Nope, I'm back.
There he is.
Hooray. Yeah, so I'll be back in... this is going to be a nightmare of... I'm sorry for if you were listening to us on Twitch, I'm sorry about this. But at any rate... Yeah, so Shibagaki very much... I really do get the impression that it's the only reason he's at all resentful about Baba's success outside of comedy is...
outside their duo.
Outside their duo is that, like, it cuts into their time to rehearse. Like, that's it. Mm-hmm. It's like... But, like, I just want to have time to rehearse with you and get our routine down, and I get why you can't. I'm not, like, angry about that because, like, dude, it's awesome that you're doing well. I'm a little resentful that I'm not doing well, but, whatever. That's not your fault. It's very clear that, like, it's very clear that he's not resentful of Baba, which I think is actually kind of neat.
Well, I mean, the thing is, Baba gets this job like working on TV. Mm-hmm. And all he's doing, he's basically playing a news reporter, asking members of the public questions
Mhm.
and being the straight man to the answers that are given.
Yeah, and that spirals
Which is-
into like a TV drama and other stuff. And it's like, what the hell?
Yeah, which is basically just like it's completely. He's just dropped into his perfect role, you
Yeah.
know, and it's unlucky, but it's the way things work. You know, it's unlucky for Shibagaki, Shibagaki, but it's just the way things work,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
And and again, Shibagaki would never say it outright, but like, it's very clear he's actually like, yeah, it's great for Baba. I want to do comedy with my friend.
Yeah.
Oh well. We'll give
The
it his
only
last
two-
try, and then maybe I'll convince. Oh no, I'm not going to convince him. Okay.
There's two threads that we haven't really pulled on yet that are relatively important. Kakihana, Orikawa's, I wouldn't say best friend, but friend.
It's his longest friend. They went to high school together.
Oldest friend, yeah. Who is he's a monkey base, a gibbon, I think.
Yep.
He's kind of a down and out loser type.
He's a janitor.
I think he's a janitor, yeah. Like works for bare minimum, hangs out the bar, gets drunk, and
Has shitty luck with it's just a shitty luck with women. Like he desperately wants to like meet someone, fall in love, and get married. That's his big goal. He really wants that companionship. And you know, nothing wrong with being a janitor. Nothing wrong with any of that. Like seriously, janitors. It's an important job. Should be paid a lot better than it is.
He's like every other character. He's in his own head. Like he's a lowly janitor, so no one would really bother with me. He's shaming himself, you know, like his family look down on him because he's a 40-year-old guy who's not got a wife.
He's unmarried. He's never been married.
And I mean, and that is a thing in Japanese culture. I think what is it with women? If you're not married by 26, you're basically done and dusted.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
it's kind of brutal, but you know. And he's got the weight of his own expectations on his shoulders, and can't get out from under it. So spends most of his time just drinking.
Yeah, and he ends up lying on a dating
Twitter,
app.
Trolling, not Twitter, Tinder, just swiping right, hoping someone will respond.
And eventually he fudges his income and job on there, and lo and behold, a cute girl and sort of on the edge of graduating from high school, it basically messages him. And
everyone's reaction was, "Oh, you're getting catfished."
And no, he wasn't getting catfished. He was getting badgered.
Yeah, which is much worse.
Different.
Yeah, it turns out that the girl was one of the members of the idol group who was being forced by Yano to run the Badger on older rich old guys.
Yep.
The Badger is an old con, basically using attractive women to get men into compromising positions so that you can blackmail them.
Yeah. This is not the worst. This is not the worst of Kakihana's decisions, however.
No, because he also, in order to maintain the illusion, he starts.
Yeah, he decides to maintain the illusion with her because he falls hard for the girl. And
I mean, she's an idol level 18-year-old girl, you know.
Yep, she's very cute, very sweet.
To a desperate man, is like.
No, he falls for her hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
And to be fair, she's not super happy about doing this, but yeah, he goes to Loan Shark, take money out to pay for the illusion of that, and then he borrows more money from them so he can buy an engagement ring. And yeah.
And then shit hits the fan
because Yano
Yano
is not a con artist and is just trying to take him. Is not just going to try to take the money from him and leave him hanging in the wind. No, that would be leaving a loose end.
Yeah.
So take all the money and then get rid of the guy. Yeah. But Yano senses that maybe I might be able to work something out for some value out of him anyways because, yeah, he doesn't have money, but he's got connections. Oh, he's connected to Orikawa, who might have the dashboard cam. That could be useful. You get to live, Kakihana. But why would this poor girl in idol group be being forced to actually run the Badger for a gangster? Yeah. So we mentioned that whole disappearing girl. Yeah, she was a member of the idol group, and she was like she was probably the most talented member of the group in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And one of the outside backers was suggesting that she become the center as opposed to Nikaido, who's like, so she eventually calls the girl and calls what's it Mitsuya.
Let's not go all the way in there.
I would just want to say she called she this is actually one of the spoiler points that we have to talk about though.
All right.
Because it explains why Yano is able to do what he's doing with them. Actually, you know what? We're not going to go too deep detail into it. All I would say is that between the two of them, something happens that they are forced to go to Yano for a favor.
And he uses that favor to control them.
Yeah.
I believe, without spoiling, I believe the technical term is, in return for his help, he secured the rights to for the members of the idol group to work under him.
Yep, and half their profits.
And half their profits, yeah, and perform services for him.
Yeah.
Now they don't go into what those services include, but Yano does hint at one.
Yano is a terrible, awful person.
Yano's a terrible person.
Yeah. So yeah, he actually breaks the boss's one. He's pretty clear. He breaks the boss's main rule, which is don't kill people. Like everything else is fair game, but don't kill people.
Yeah.
We are certain Yano's had people killed. Like. So yeah. But yeah, all of this ties together in the end because like, disappearing girl. Like, oh my god. There's a plan to rob the bank. And all through all this, Otokawa. So the other important bit, the reason Otokawa actually gets roped into this, is because Shirakawa actually. So Dabo decides to use Shirakawa, who knows Otokawa, to try to has her get close to him to find out more about him, so figure out if he has actual information on the disappearing girl. And Shirakawa actually ends up falling for Otokawa, which he does not understand or really completely believe. for quite a while, because why would a pretty girl like that be interested in him? And my internet's derping again. So we'll.
Yep, your internet's exploding.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if you can still hear me, that means it'll be back in a bit, probably.
Okay.
Like right now.
Excellent.
So yes. Yeah. So yeah, like Otokawa can't really believe a cute girl like her is even remotely interested in him.
I mean, that's understandable, honestly.
Yes.
Like as far as he's concerned, he's just a schlubby, like, cab driver. Why is this?
He's a schlubby middle-aged cab driver. Why is a cute nurse interested in me?
Yes. A cute nurse that does capoeira.
Yeah. And initially she wasn't, but she ends up like actually really admiring him as a person, like in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And like she's like, no, you're just a really good dude, and I just like you. And he's like, okay, I know you're trying to use me, and I appreciate that, but like but he finds out that like she used to date Dabu, and he kind of has her by the scruff of the neck in a lot of ways.
Short curly, so you're allowed to say that.
By the purse strings, at least.
Yeah, Well, she sort of got a bit of like he was emotionally abusive towards her.
He was emotionally abusive towards her, and he lent her a lot of money.
Right.
Yeah.
And so he's having her pay back the money by stealing medication from the clinic to sell, so that he can sell it.
And in classic loan shark scenario, it's just covering the interest. She's not paying down the principal at all.
Right. And Otokawa gets involved in all this. He's like, okay, look, I'll help. Like Dabu wants him to help with something, to help him with this thing. And Otokawa's like, okay, look, I'm actually just not interested in helping you at all. Yeah, go ahead and try to kill me. I'll find some way to try to work around. And if I don't, oh well. But you have your hooks into someone I actually kind of consider a friend in a lot of ways. So here's what I'll do. I will help you if you cut her free, clear her debts, let her go. And Dabu's like, honestly, that's worth it. Fine, sure.
Yeah.
Like, you actually getting this done, like, I'll be able to steal a fuck ton of, like, my plan involves me stealing a fuck ton of money, so, yeah, okay, sure. Oh, and
Plus,
you want me to help?
I've already made back what I've lent her several times over. So
Whatever. But, like, yeah, and if you help me steal money, also, it's like, oh, you want me to help you not get shot by this guy? Yeah, fine. If I can't do the job without you, so yeah, I'll help you deal with this guy who stole my gun.
Yeah, I mean that one's
that's Nobu's like primary motivation for dealing with Skullface,
Yeah.
as it becomes known, is like the dude's got my gun.
So
well,
it's
this is the thing. It's like it's as much of a benefit for Dobu to find this guy as it is the other way around. Because that gun will, even though he's Yakuza, that gun will be registered to Dobu.
oh yeah, no. The thing
Guns
is,
are not very easy to get a hold of in Japan.
no. People are assuming
Especially-
that Skullface is him,
That too, yeah.
and he's like, oh, this fucker's got to go. So yeah, I'll help you. Sure.
Skullface, sorry, we didn't mention. Skullface is the guy with the gambling addiction. He he takes to wearing a skull mask out in public to try and hunt down Orikawa.
Yep.
And he goes to some fucking length to hunt him down.
Yeah. So Orikawa's doing all this, but his plan is basically to, turn Dabu into the police by the end. He's basically trying to rig things up to screw him over in the end. But it's like, no, I'm not going to let him get away with doing all this. He's a fucking crook, and he tried to hurt my friends.
Yeah.
Fuck him.
Police, however, is a different issue.
Yeah, well, the problem is that Dabu has there are two cops that we see a bunch in the show who are twin brothers. One of whom's a crooked cop,
The other one's dumb as a stump.
but has a very strong sense of justice.
Yeah.
And it turns out he's not quite as dumb as he seems. He's still stupid.
He's very naive.
And profoundly naive.
Oh, he's profoundly naive and really loves his brother, and doesn't want to believe his brother's corrupt. But eventually, like, enough evidence is shown. He's like, yeah, okay, fine. Yep, fuck. All right, fine. I'm gonna stop. I'll help you stop these guys from doing the evil thing. And it comes down to this beautifully elaborate heist, which is, mwah!
Yeah.
Seriously, Dabu's plan is actually legitimately a good one.
It really is.
It's a really good plan.
And it would have worked if it weren't for that meddling cab driver, it turns out.
Oh god, the look on Yano's face.
Oh my god, so good! So good!
Oh. They break him so hard, he stops rhyming.
Yeah.
And even his like his lieutenant is like his second in command is like, boss, what? You're not rhyming. Shut up!
Fuck that noise! He's just like, ah! Oh my god, it's so good. But yeah, it all ends up in a giant car chase with Yano and his lieutenant and his subordinate chasing Orikawa they're in a stolen cop car, and after beating the crap out of the Big Daimon, the corrupt of the two Daimon brothers, chasing Orikawa down the streets of Tokyo, while Gariki and Shirakawa are trying to find him.
It's basically No Country for Old Men. Like,
Yeah.
There's a car chase. There's some killers involved. Like, there's just some guy trying to get out of the thing. It's really well done.
Yeah. Like, the one thing Dabu doesn't want to get involved in, that Orikawa insists on, is rescuing Kakihana from Yano.
Yep.
And, like, Orikawa's like, this is a deal breaker. Either you help me or I'm out. And Dabu's like, fuck. All right, yeah, Yano might actually kill the dude, and that would suck. So, yeah, fine, I'll help. Oh, Yano's not here. Oh, that makes it easier. Oh, his lieutenant is here. Oh, you dumb fuck. You're trying to fight me.
There's a great couple of lines. Is like, I can't go back to Yano knowing that you beat me. That's not my problem. It's your fault. It's your fault. You're too weak, and I beat you.
Yeah, it's pretty heavily implied that Dobu's like also in his 40s or at least late 30s. Like, he's been around for a while.
And he's legitimately a stone cold badass.
Yeah.
He is shot twice and lives.
He's shot twice and is minorly inconvenienced.
The first one is, he gets shot through the femoral artery and lives.
Well, It's definitely not the femoral artery, or he would
No,
have
no,
died.
he was shot in the
like
general. He
30
shot through
seconds.
shot in the leg and is bleeding badly, but gets to a doctor and is fine.
Yeah,
Then gets shot in the gut and lives. Unfortunately for him, he's now in jail.
yeah.
And
Spoilers.
not happy.
Um,
Oh, that's not a big deal.
yeah,
But yeah, he's Dabu is at least as tough as he thinks he is.
yeah. Doubles as tough as he thinks he is. He's as good a fighter as he thinks he is. He's almost as smart as he thinks he is.
Yeah, almost. And he's good. He's almost as good at reading people as he thinks he is.
Almost.
Yeah, well, that's his problem. Yeah, he does everything absolutely to plan. He, like you say, he beats Yano just simply because Yano's too overconfident and he has a better plan.
Yep.
But
The best part, I
issue
love the
is
fact that Yano's like, I know what I know Dabu. This is what his plan is. And Dabu's like, this is what Yano was thinking my plan is. Unfortunately for Yano, I know that's what he's thinking.
It's not that Nobu's dumb. He's just that he absolutely underestimates
Otokawa completely,
Otokawa.
utterly and completely. Like there are moments he's suspicious of him, and he's like, I can't read this fucker.
Yeah. Well, there's one bit where Otokawa's just like literally sat in Nobu's apartment or wherever they are, safe house, and like he's got his phone on, recording everything that Nobu's saying. And Nobu's like, "What's so interesting in your phone?" "Oh, I just got a message. One of my friends has disappeared and hasn't been around for a while." It's legitimate, but he's still got his phone recording everything.
Yeah, he lies by telling the truth.
Yeah.
Because Otokawa's awesome. I love Otokawa so much. He's such a great character. But yeah, so so we're at the point where like everything's spiraled together, and Goriki's like really getting digging into what's going on with Otokawa, because one of Otokawa's big sort of gifts is that he's really able to remember people. Like he just sees people differently, and like he can look at someone, and if he's got a chance to observe someone and he's at all interested in them, he will always be able to pick them out of a crowd, knows exactly who they are, even if shot from the back, he will recognize them instantly. Like
Even if they're wearing a mask, he can tell who they are.
As long as he's seen them without it first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he can't identify Skullface because he doesn't know who Skullface is without the mask, and wasn't interested in them the first time he met them, if he'd ever met them, which he hadn't. But like someone else in a mask, I recognize you. You're that hippo dude. And so, like, Gariki is sort of trying to figure out what it is. He's like, maybe it's a sort of a form of synesthesia. I'm trying to figure out what's going on with the dude because it's his friend. He's worried.
Yeah.
And he eventually does find out what happened and Otokawa's full backstory, which is something of a spoiler. And this is the twist that I said we'd talk about. And because it's interesting and is worth discussing, and is the reason the show works the way it does in the format it does.
Yeah. The reason Goriki pursues it is so hard is because he's got this photograph that he's showing people. And he's like, "Who's this?" And it's literally a picture of some like figures in a darkened room, like a nightclub sort of setting. To the back, like
it's someone's silhouette, basically.
Someone's silhouette, and like no, everyone's like, "How the hell am I supposed to know who that is?"
And Otokawa's like, "Oh, that's Kakehana."
It's Kakehana. Like, not even blinking, like, not even taking a breath, it's Kakehana. How? How did you know that?
It's obvious.
Yeah. It's a monkey.
There's a wonderful line where Doba's asking about this thing, and Otokawa's like, "Yeah, I don't understand how other people can't do it. I don't get it.
Seems so obvious to me."
And Doba's like, "Okay. So are you psychic or something?"
No.
It's just something I can do, and I can't explain it. And it's just natural. So, yeah. All right, so if you care about this reveal about Otokawa's past and want to experience yourself, pause now, come back after you've watched the show. Okay? Good. All right. So, Otokawa's parents didn't leave him, per se. They're dead.
Yeah.
His mom basically, his dad came home passed out drunk one too many times. His mom bundled Otakawa and his dad into the back of the car, or his dad in the back of the car, Otakawa up front, and drove into the river, trying to kill. Basically, murder suicide. Basically, bullshit. Otakawa lived, but had some brain damage from basically, bordering on asphyxiation for a while, basically partial drowning. And we find out about his whole how introverted and sensitive and how much he just didn't get along with people. And he liked animals a lot as a kid. Loved the zoo. And one of the few things his dad ever gave him that he cared about was this encyclopedia on animals that he really liked, and he just loved animals. And so he's as a coping mechanism when he came out of the coma he was in, his brain just started interpreting people as animals as sort of a way to make them a little bit more comfortable to be around.
Yeah. It's like he said, when his dad visited his mistress, he used to just dump him at the zoo and say, "Don't tell your mother." So, like, he couldn't look people in the eye. He couldn't, he couldn't communicate with people, talk to women or whatever else. So, but he was always utterly comfortable with animals, and his brain just developed this way of coping.
So, all the people, they're not people, they're not humans, they're animals. I can actually talk to an animal.
But it also gave him this ability to just, because as soon as he identified somebody as a certain animal, like that it stuck with them. That perception stuck. So, if he saw well, I don't want to go into spoilers, but we mentioned one earlier about the mask. He recognized the hippo kid because he saw a hippo wearing a mask.
Right. So lots of little details get turned into a particular animal that he associates with that one person.
Yeah.
It's actually really interesting. And so, the last episode ends with the car chase leading Otakawa crashing into the bay off an incomplete bridge, where he starts drowning and passes out, but is saved by Shirakawa, who dives in to the water, swims down to him, and busts open the window with capoeira underwater.
Because she's awesome.
Because she's a badass. I love her. And the final episode opens with him regaining consciousness in the hospital, and everyone's human, including him.
Yeah.
But he's sort of gotten used to dealing with people at this point, so it's not a big problem, though he's still uncomfortable around women. But yeah, so we find out that there's the foundation was that he's never had to pay for anything for his life, so the foundation has basically set him up for life in this apartment, and basically the landlady's got enough rent to cover him for the rest of his life. So he's been like giving her money to pay the rent and pay them back, and she's just been sticking it in a bank account for him because he doesn't he's very comfortable in his life with it because he makes enough money as a taxi and doesn't have to pay for food and rent. So in Tokyo,
yeah.
We should all be so lucky.
So he doesn't care about he's got enough money to be fine comfortably for on his own for as long as he wants. So that's the reason he just everyone's like, here's lots of money. He's like, I don't need money. I'm fine. Help my friends. Okay. And that's sort of the last episode. Sort of him, finishing off the last few pieces of various puzzles and such. And having figured out who the guy who's behind the foundation is, and he's like, oh, okay, I know who it is now, and it's this tapir who's got Yakuza tattoos, who is Dabu's boss, and and so the idol fan who won all the money he says, yeah, here's the money that was in your that got left in your car that was recovered from the water, and it's my money. I want you to have it. Okay, I was like, I don't need the money, and Gariki's like, couldn't you give it to a charity or something? He's like, yeah, you know what? All right, yeah, I can pay that to the foundation. I know who to give it to now.
I do like the last episode where they go around basically virtually the entire cast.
Yep.
Yeah.
And showing you what they look like in as humans.
Yep.
And you get exactly where Odokawa got all of those
Oh,
features
absolutely. You
Oh
get why
yeah,
he's
absolutely.
they do a really good job of making sure that you can still see they are very clearly human,
Mhm.
but you can see where he got the impression from.
Yep.
Like
Especially Dabu and Gariki. Like, especially those
Gariki's a
two.
Yeah.
little bit on the nose, but yeah.
It's great. It's beautiful. And like it's just a really, for most of that episode, it's just a really nice sort of, coda to the rest of the show, sort of wrapping things up. And then the last 5 minutes happens, and we're not going to spoil that.
No.
Yeah.
Watch the show. You will not regret waiting for those last 5 minutes, and that we did not spoil it for you. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, that is such. I mean,
It's so well
yeah.
done.
Yeah.
It's so well done. And like it is
really
a
is, yeah.
surprise and a twist that makes complete fucking sense when you at all think about it at all.
There is only one hesitation I have
Mm-hmm.
about that scene, because we know the sort of like movie and the sort of show that it's harkening back to. The sort of like
Mhm.
the question mark hanging over things.
Mhm.
In this day and age, I am really worried that's going to get taken as sequel bait.
I don't
Because
think
the
it
show
will
does
be.
not need a sequel.
No.
No,
That's where the show should. That is where the story ends. End of thing.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are 95% sure what happens next, and it's.
What happened? That's up to you. The end.
Yes, that's the thing.
I won't go that far. I think it's pretty clear what happened.
Right, but that's still up to you. The end. That's where we're going to go with that.
Yeah. Oh,
that's where we're putting this. That's for the audience to figure.
Yeah, that's
out.
where I'll say it this way: watch the show, you will understand where what happened. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not as it's a little bit less up in the air than the ending of No Country for Old Men. I'll put it that way. Because that's literally a coin toss. This is less of one, I think.
Still open to interpretation.
I will say that yes, it is open to interpretation, and I know that there are people that would really fucking annoy.
Yeah, if you absolutely need a definitive happy or sad ending, and I know I've bitched about this kind of thing before about stealing away a happy ending and that kind of thing. It's not so much that it leaves everything like it's bought the helicopter ride. It is in the sky. It's up there for you to decide whatever you want to do with it.
But yeah, I know people who really don't like No Country for Old Men because they hate the ending.
Yeah.
And I get that. I love the ending, but I'm
I'm
a film noir junkie, so
yeah. And the ending, this is great. Again, it's up to the audience to decide, and that's where we're going to leave it.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. I agree completely.
Absolutely not going to spoil anything. Spoil a damn thing.
But I want to.
You haven't already, but
we haven't.
At any rate, so I will say, Eric sort of hinted at this as we've been going on, but this is a show that takes advantage of the fact that it is it is an animated show brilliantly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because of that reveal at the end of that everyone is actually human, and the transition works do not work as well in any format other than that, or possibly the Muppets.
Yeah, well, it's just the fact that you've got like it's the thing that really works in its favor is it is beautifully timed in its release.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because it's following shit like Beastars,
right?
And other shows that like the not to say the furry fandom. It's not that that kind of show, but it's like
anthropomorphic animals.
Anthropomorphic animals is not out of the realms of possibility at this moment in time. Or it never really has been.
It's tapped into the zeitgeist.
Yeah,
like but this is a show that absolutely like uses its medium to its fullest effect.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't quite pull off like let's just go nuts with experimental weirdness that say Mob Psycho does.
No, it
takes its medium and it goes, this is what we need it to do. This is how we're going to approach it. This is how it's done. And you couldn't do this in live action because of the entire conceit of the show.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like and that's something I think I appreciate a great deal, and not enough shows do.
I actually have a feeling that this show got a lot of watchers by people after a an animal show.
Yeah, like I said, it's in the zeitgeist right now. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yep.
it is the thing that is happening.
If it was just a like you say, if it was just this noir mystery with humans from the start and without the color palette and all that kind of stuff that's going on throughout the show, I don't think it would have picked up half as much notice.
It's still been really
It's-
good. Like,
Oh, it's really good, but it would have
Yeah.
been a ride back kind of situation.
yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
It would have been good, but no one would have heard of it.
I think the stylization of the animation works to its benefit also because it's got this very sort of like almost cutesy feel to it.
Yep.
In a lot of places, it's very sort of like almost like early Newgrounds kind of feel, and particularly the opening.
Oh yeah.
And
The opening's
it
almost
really works with the sophistication of the story. Sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Priming you for one thing and presenting you with another.
It's a brilliant juxtaposition.
Thank you. That's the phrase I'm looking for.
the opening and the closing almost look like crayon. You know, the way that
Yeah.
it's drawn. It's like really cheery and childish in some cases, but it's dealing with some really adult themes.
Oh yeah.
No, the opening and closing are they weren't hand drawn. They worked really hard to make it look hand drawn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I'm not sure which have been more difficult, honestly.
I mean either. But yeah, so yeah. And I love the way they use music in the show. Usually it's diegetic, except for, whatever the capoeira happens. And there it sort of like thematically makes sense, but it really shouldn't actually be there.
It doesn't matter. It's awesome.
Oh, it's great. I love it. Yeah, I just, yeah. It just does a lot. And the writing in the dialogue is so good. Oh. So, yeah, there's just a lot to admire about the way that the show handles stuff, legitimately. Like, legitimately, like, I guess it could be better animated. It's like, from a technical standpoint, like...
Maybe from a technical standpoint, possibly.
The animations work very very worksman. It does exactly what it needs to do.
Sure.
It doesn't impress.
Right.
But that's not what you're here to watch the show.
Oh no, totally, I agree.
No.
It is a show that relies on the medium to tell the story to full effect, but doesn't need to be an exemplar of the medium to do it.
Yeah, it does a good job with facial animations, but it's not like, Kyoto Animation level, like...
Yeah, you're not, like...
But better than average, I would say, on the sort of the ability to express emotion through the faces on a couple of ovals and,
A couple of ovals and a line. Yeah. Or an oval and a couple lines, rather. But
it's one of those... It's one of those situations where things have been left simplistic so they can do more with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And it's the simplicity of the designs lends to easier animation, which basically lets the animators take a break. I'm going to be perfectly honest.
Sure.
Like the animation does exactly what it needs to do. It's not super impressive, but it doesn't need to be. But everyone's on model all the fucking time.
Yep.
Everything flows properly. It's just you're not getting like those crazy Sakuga moments.
No, the shot composition's great though.
Yeah, it's very well directed in every way.
Yeah.
I think this is the reason why I say this could work in live action.
Oh, well,
just because
there's a lot about it that could.
Yeah, they use the advantages of being an animation really well, but you can tell it's been like the shot design and the composition and everything's been put together as if it was being shot live action.
Oh, sure. Legitimately, the only reason I don't think it would work is because I don't think CG or prosthetics are good enough to pull it off without being distracting.
Yeah, they're going to pull you right out of the experience. And, any well-directed show is going to have similar things. I mean, that's just...
Well, yeah.
I mean, yes, it's very... The shot composition is excellent. as it should be for anything that's excellently directed.
What I mean is though, with anime, you sometimes you'll see them. They'll take advantage of the fact that their cameras are virtual, and they can have these huge sweeping shots and impossible, positions and all this kind of stuff. They don't really do that with this.
No.
They keep it very
No.
basic, very simple, very real.
Every camera, it basically you can sort of envision what every camera shot would be with a real camera. Sure, I can see
Yes.
that. I can see. I think for the most part, yeah. But yeah, it's a really good show. It's well directed. It's well written. The voice acting is stellar. If it ever gets a dub, I hope to God they get good voice actors for it, and
Yeah.
more importantly, a good voice director.
Yes.
Yeah, that's going to be the key.
That's like, yeah. I will be fascinated, and I will be fascinated to see what they do with Yano for a dub.
Yeah.
Utterly fascinated to see what they do for that. Because they're going to have someone who can take the Japanese writing, translate it to English, and have it actually work as a rap.
Yeah.
That's not easy. That's actually fucking hard.
Get the guys that did the fucking the dub for Fooly Cooly or Cowboy Bebop.
Probably
because they can get they can localize it in such a way that it'll work.
The only issue is going to be Yano for people like that is legitimately Yano.
That's why I'm saying get those guys because they're very
again
watch those shows.
Yeah, but they're not trying to turn something into a rhyming rhythmic scheme. That's translating the rap from Japanese into English and having it still be rap is going to be fucking hard.
Sure, but so is translating a whole bunch of jokes based on idioms and.
Yeah, but that's a different skill set. Is my point.
Yeah.
Sure.
The issue is it's not just the words as well. Depending on what sort of level of technology we're at now, it's also matching the lip flaps.
That's yeah. We'll see. But at any rate,
there is. I fully agree with you. To get that to work, there's a lot of work to be done.
It's just going to be fucking hard.
It's going to be a lot of work. Yeah. There's no question there.
Maybe those guys can do it. I don't know. I'm just saying, it's whoever does it is going to be.
I think the only way it would is if they ignore the literal translation and just basically try and fit the scene.
I mean, they'll need
get the same.
They'll need to take the concepts and hand someone who's an actual knows how to write rap.
Yeah.
Write. Here are the concepts. Write a rap in English, and we'll find a way to match lip flaps.
Yeah.
Anywho. I think we should move into final thoughts, though.
Yeah, I'm going to say we're
before my internet dies again.
Yeah.
So, Eric, then Gav, then I'll take up I get the final say because it's my choice.
Okay, so this show's excellent in every aspect. It uses its medium in a unique way that can only be done in that medium. The writing is fucking stellar. The voice acting is great. The shot compositions are... I have no complaints about this show. The biggest complaint I have is the frying pan solution to Arakawa's issue, and that's such a minor thing and completely in genre for what's happening for the show. So fine. I have no complaints about this show. This deserves all the praise it's got, and you are a bad person for not having already seen this. I was a bad person before I watched it. Now I am better.
Well, we know to avoid baboons bearing gifts anyway.
Sir, I don't know what else I could say. It's good. It all boils down to it's good. There's no yeah.
There's no detail to go into. That's the thing. It's good. Okay. being the uneducated fuckwit in the group, as you're going into episode 1, you do kind of get this impression that it's going to be a long, talky kind of. Okay, I'm in for a long haul here, but by episode 2, it's already hit its stride. You're already getting drawn in. The character work is great. Like you said, the animation is basic and simplistic, but that's not what you're here for. This is a character piece.
Mm-hmm.
This is all about the story. This is a book that's reading itself to you. Essentially, the animation doesn't matter. It's just there to help illustrate the text. Like I said, I had the same issue that Eric had with the frying pan,
Mm-hmm.
but they made up for that with the whole gambling addiction thing. For me, that was
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
just stellar how they handled that. Um, Other than that, yeah, it is one of those shows that you have to see. Don't let it put you off in any way, shape, or form. It is. I'm just trying to think of the other shows that came out that season, and there's a lot of good stuff that
Yeah.
season. But this is up there. This is legitimately up there, and could possibly be, depending on what you're after. I mean, if you're after shonen superheroes, no. If you're actually after like, I don't want to say Oscars, but if you're like craftsmanship and script and writing and putting it all together, this is up there. This is really up there.
I'll put it this way: this is the best show I've watched since One Punch Man, since Mob Psycho. Like, period.
Mm-hmm.
End of discussion.
Yeah.
Like, and I might like it better than I like Mob Psycho. I'm not sure yet. It is really in danger of cracking my top 5 favorite shows of all time. Like, it is legitimately great.
I mean, I wasn't lying when I said this show is genetically designed to attract
no,
peeps.
I am the target market
And
for this show. So take what I'm saying with as much salt as you deem necessary. But there's a reason that virtually everyone that you see talk about this on YouTube gushes about this show.
Yeah.
And I hope we've managed to get that across, and in a way that you might entice you to watch it yourselves, because I legitimately want this show to get the recognition it deserves, so more stuff of this quality gets made.
Yes.
Like, it doesn't have to be the same genre, but like, there's so much care and work went into the characters and the story and the scripting and everything about the show, and I want that rewarded. Because this is a really quality piece of art, and I want that. I want people to know that. Like,
there is a reason we've been very, very tight-lipped with a lot of the spoilers. I mean, you might think we've spoiled a lot,
No.
we really haven't. There's a lot in here.
It's a very dense show, but it's so well paced that you don't really feel it being dense as you're watching it. The second you start thinking about it, you're going, "Oh, wow, well, okay." And the plotting is really tightly done. Like, this is one of the tightest plots since basically Madoka Magica we've covered, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Like, there's a reason we're showering the show with as much praise as we're showering it with. It's really good. Please watch it if you haven't. This is what I'm saying. Give it a shot. And like, the first episode might, like, I normally don't think the 3-episode test is something that is like mandatory, because I think you can form an opinion about a show very quickly. I do think that like, a lot of the issues you might have from a presentation standpoint are overshadowed by the rest of the show as you go along with it, and that happens quickly. I don't think you even need 3. Like, as Gav said, like, by the second episode, it should probably have hooked you, I think.
It starts picking up. I mean, it does spend about 3 or 4, maybe 5 episodes introducing people, because it has to do that.
Yeah.
But then once the story is always there in the background, kind of just trickling along, reminding you it's there.
Yep.
And then about episode 5, it goes, hook. Right.
Come along now. But there's a hook in my mouth and I can't help it wrong. But yeah, I cannot recommend this show highly enough, honestly. God, it's good. But yeah, as I said, this was sort of like, this show was basically designed for, like, hey, wait, it's basically film noir, but animated.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, this is a Peter show. If I had to design a Peter show, it would be this.
There's even a bank heist in the show. I like.
Yeah. I think what I find most interesting about this show is how actually film noir it is. Because the only cops that show up are an incompetent boob and a corrupt asshole.
And,
like, watch any film noir. That's how many cops show up. The incompetent boob and the corrupt asshole.
As a general thumb, yeah. Yeah, yeah. So I really, really recommend the show. Like, go watch.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's Odd Taxi. Go watch it. 3 thumbs up in this, like, way up.
Yep,
Yep.
absolutely.
Yeah. So Eric, you're up next. What are we watching next?
Oh, I think we'll go with the other critical darling, and that'll be what is it? Suddenly can't remember what it's called. Vivi.
Vivi. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
Vivi.
singing robot.
Fluoritized. Yeah, singing robot and time traveling AI.
Vivi, Fluorite Eyes
Eric's
song.
doing
That's it. Yep.
another prestige show involving time travel.
Wait, Eric, haven't we done a prestige show involving time travel that you've recommended before?
We've done several.
Oh, right. Yeah.
He's got precedent.
I was just thinking of
Except
Steins
now-
Gate, but
Yeah. So now he's giving us the Terminator with American Idol. I'd watch that.
we're going
I
to.
wouldn't, but we're going to.
So that we're covering Vivi Fluorite. We're covering Vivi Fluorite's Eye next time. This should be a hoot. Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed. If you enjoyed the episode, despite the internet fuck ups, and you're listening to us on YouTube, hit like, subscribe, throw us a comment. We record the show when we finish. We record the show on Tuesday nights after we finish a series. Vivi is, I think Vivi's 13 episodes or so.
I honestly don't know off the top of my head.
Let's
For
see.
2 or 3 weeks, I
It
think.
is. I clicked on the wrong thing.
It is 13 episodes.
13
yes.
episodes. So we'll be back in a few weeks, 2-3 weeks probably. So yeah, I'd say we'll estimate 3 weeks, just to be safe. But it's possibly 2 weeks. We'll see. Well, it depends on how quickly we get through the show. But yeah, thank you for watching, everybody, and we hope you enjoyed. And we'll be back next time. See you then. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.